This one comes out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. A husband who'd been drinking, had weapons, and may have threatened suicide. A wife with cuts and bruises who fled the house. An urgent call to police who responded with SWAT team members and a forced takedown when the man emerged from the couple's waterfront estate in Fort Lauderdale. Who are they talking about? Ex-Trump campaign manager Brad Parscale, Zach. Wow, what a doozy of this story. This took up domestic disturbance a couple of notches, didn't it?
It 100% did, yeah.
Now, this comes out of, this is the Sun Sentinel. We've got some video here. Basically, there was some argument between Brad Parscale and his wife, and apparently she left the house during that argument. There was a realtor next door who was showing the house. She asked the realtor for help. The realtor called the cops. They showed up, and she said she thought maybe Brad Parscale was going to shoot himself. And then let's take a look at the video to see what unfolded.
Crazy. So I went outside to the backyard to let him just like chill out. And he was just like going irate. And he like came out of his office, cocked a gun, went back, and I was like, okay, this is up. So I went to the front yard.
Yep. Okay.
And then I saw him like, I was sitting in the front yard, I was trying to like, give him space, chill out.
Hello, Brad. How you doing, sir? Hey, I got him on.
That's his wife there.
Hey, Brad. How you doing? This is Officer Scaggs, the Fort Lauderdale Police Department.
Oh my God.
You okay?
Hey, how you doing?
You okay in there? Okay. All right. Can you do us a favor? Can you walk out with no weapons?
Walk out with no weapons.
Can you come outside with no weapons, please?
Okay, we're going to make 25 with this subject.
All right, so let's pause here.
God,
So
I
you
wish
heard
we
her
could
story.
hear. Yeah, I wish we could hear what he was saying to him.
Oh, yeah, Brad. Yeah, we don't hear his response.
I wish we could. Yeah.
Because okay, good. Let's hold on to that thought, because that's her story. Is he comes out of the bathroom or wherever, and he's got a gun cocked, and he doesn't know if she doesn't know if he's going to hurt himself or hurt her, and she's in it looks like she was in the pool or maybe sunbathing or something, because she's scantily clad with a white towel around her. What's the laugh?
It's very polite of you. Polite way to put it.
She's looking really hot, Zach.
Yeah.
And then, so the cops all show up, and they said, "Brad, come on, maybe come out without any weapons." Okay, all right. So let's continue.
Sir, can you just come step out of the house?
Like went back inside, came back out of his office, like cocked his handgun,
Handgun?
and went back inside.
You got a lot of guns in the house?
I think we had like 4 or 5 of them.
4 or 5.
Yeah. And so,
Handguns, like rifles like that, or a lot of handguns?
he has a shotgun, he has a rifle, he has a Glock.
She's like he's got a whole arsenal.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was one of his millions. Okay, let's go.
And so after he did that, I was like, okay, he just needs to he's really getting out of control. So I went to the front yard, and I was just sitting in the front yard, just like trying to chill out for a second. And so then I saw him like open the blinds.
By the way, those aren't real, are they?
I don't know. I can't tell.
Okay. If you're watching, please comment down below.
In the front yard. And then he closed them, and then I heard what I thought was a gunshot.
All right, here's Brad coming out.
He said, I left my gun in there.
Okay, come out here. That's fine.
I'm your friend.
All right, relax.
What's up? Okay.
What's going on?
All right, hang on. So
He
this
said, I left
cop-
my gun, but I brought my beer.
I got my beer. I got to keep this buzz going. I mean,
Yeah. He's a monster, dude. Look how big he is.
He's taller than that giant Ford truck.
Yeah.
Now, by the way, does he look like a campaign manager?
No.
He looks like he's in some
On vacation, maybe.
What's that?
On vacation.
On vacation.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, he looks like he should be cast in the show Vikings or something.
Yeah.
And by the way, it looks like there's a dog or two inside.
Yeah.
And yeah, so he comes out saying, "I'm your friend." And what the context is there, I believe in the story that officer who called him actually knows him personally. So I think they are actually friends. So yeah, he comes out without a gun, but a beer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just stand in the shade. Okay, don't do this. I'm not doing anything. Relax. What happened?
So she started saying all. Hey, get on the ground, man. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Get on the ground, man.
Look at this.
That's a nice takedown.
Get on the ground. What did I say? I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything.
Wow.
Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back. Hey, we'll figure it all out, all right? Don't worry about it. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. We're going to get you off the ground in just a second, okay?
Holy crap. So there's a lot going on in this, Zach, isn't
A lot
there?
going on. There's like, this is like the BS onion, man. There's so much layers.
Peeling the layers back.
Oh yeah.
So those guys, I mean, where were those guys? They just like come out, like appear out of nowhere. A good half dozen cops, right? All heavily armed.
Yeah, and they came out from where he like walked, and like from the path that he walked, like they were like hiding in the bushes or some shit, or like, you know what I mean? And he just walked right past them.
Now, thankfully, for Brad Parscale's sake, he did everything correct. There was no resisting. He had his arms spread because this could have turned really really quick.
That could have turned really ugly really quick on multiple levels. You know, he's a guy that, first of all, like one of the layers of bullshit is that I think gun control lobbyists and gun control like advocacy groups are going to like have a field day with like any kind of stories relating with the use of guns in this way, right? A guy that's obviously he's inebriated in some point. He's carrying a beer around. He's drunk. You know, he seems fucked up. You know, I mean, talking. His wife was saying like, wife was saying, you know, they were in an argument, so he just went in his room and came out and cocked his gun and all this other shit. I'm like, gun advocacy groups are going to like have a field day with stories like this because, like, you know, guns aren't meant so that we can get fucked up and like wave them around and shit when we're angry, right? That's not the point of guns.
And of course his history as being a Trump campaign manager who they support Second Amendment, all that stuff. It makes it look like, you know, these are the people. You know, this is your bad example of a person, and so I see that too. However, we're going on, and I don't know his wife. We don't know what happened inside that house. But the cops are going by everything she says.
Yeah.
And we didn't see any of that.
We did not.
And so, you know, that immediate takedown and all that, it really could have turned really, really bad. I mean, well, first of all, I think, you know, you and I were talking about this earlier before we got on the show. If he had walked out with a gun, I'd say there's about a good 90% chance he would have been dead.
100%. Yeah, he would have. 100%. Yeah, especially with all those cops. I mean, when you've got a woman that's already, apparently, according to the story, is a woman that already has cuts and bruises on her. Yeah. You know, so it's some kind of domestic abuse, some kind of domestic dispute going on. I think, you know, people are going to be claiming, you know, he's mentally ill and he, you know, went to, I think he went to like like to get evaluated, right? For like 72 hours. I didn't hear what the evaluation ended up being.
Here in Florida, if you get arrested for something like this, they put you in like non-voluntary psych ward for 3 days. Yeah. So I guess at a time of recording, he may still be there.
Yeah. And that's the thing with him waving around the gun. A lot of people are going to say, you know, like if they show like accounts of mental illness or PTSD and like, well, he didn't know what he was doing waving around his gun, things like that. I'm like, it still doesn't excuse the behavior. You know what I mean? Like, no. Nicholas Cruz might have had mental illness, but he still shot 17 people in Parkland High School. You know,
mental illness doesn't excuse it.
No, it does. That's what I mean. Like if Brad would have came out of there with that gun, alleged gun, we don't know that he had a gun. If he would have had a gun and came out of there with a gun and shot people, you know, I mean, that could have turned really bad. You know, the police would have shot him. He would have shot people. I don't know. So luckily, he did not bring a gun outside.
I guess you could play devil's advocate. And we don't know what this hasn't been updated with any charges yet. I would assume there'd be a minimum, assuming his guns were all legally owned. I don't think there'd be a problem there. But of course, you know, if he was roughing up his wife, then you know there should be something for that. But maybe just devil's advocate that maybe this whole thing worked out the way it should have been because we had basically the cops kept their cool. And certainly, and Brad Parscale, thankfully, he did all the right things. He walked out calmly. Yes, he had a beer, but he didn't go out there with his gun, and he didn't resist arrest, and it ended. But you know, this is really hairy, and you know, it was really weird the way they just sort of like they lured him out there. They used that one. I don't know the way it was treated was like. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's all true. I don't know. Maybe that was the appropriate response, but it did seem like they kind of set him up and just took him down and then locked him in a mental hospital. Kind of. We don't know. Maybe it's just better to be safe than sorry.
Dude, I don't have any problem with the way that like they handled it. There's a lot of tension. They're trying to de-escalate it in any way possible.
You know, these situations, Zach, they're very touch and go. I mean, we happened to just witness one that sort of worked out. I don't think they were giving him any preferential treatment. I mean, they flat out lured him outside with a friend of his and tackled him to the ground and sent him away. And if he had done anything other than, I'm referring to Brad Parscale, if he had acted in any different way than the way he acted, he has a very high likelihood of death. And this is a guy who's, I don't know, call him famous, a famous guy, a wealthy guy, a guy who, at least up until the last couple of months, had a fair amount of power in the political world. And he would have been shot like a dog, like anybody else we had seen if he had had a different reaction to him getting tackled blindsided and tackled. I don't even think he even saw that cop coming behind him.
He 100% did. That cop had good tackle for him too.
It was a good form tackle.
100%. And I mean, he had to. Like that guy, he's 6'8", man. That dude's huge, man. You know, what else are they going to do?
Yeah, I would say, like, because I said, you know, he looks like a Viking, basically. I mean, if he got angry and started swinging around, he could probably keep, 2 or 3 cops off of him. And then you see the taser, and then you see the guns coming out, and then shots ring, and someone ends up dead. So
yeah,
it's a crazy world. It's a crazy world we live in, Zach. What's the moral of the story? How about don't hurt your wife.
Yeah.
And don't walk around with a loaded gun in your house, right? Either during, before, or after you've hurt your wife. And so I think that it is sad, and I hope. I mean, we don't know what's going to come of this, but I hope if it is something like PTSD, or he really was threatening to kill himself, then hopefully he can straighten himself out.
Yeah, and if the cops show up at your house, leave your loaded gun inside.
Yes.
And hopefully you will only be tackled to the ground and nothing more.
That's true. Even if you did things far worse. Yeah. If you want to live, do not walk outside.
Yeah.
Do not walk outside with your weapon. So Trump fired him or demoted him because he was in the 2016, he was campaign manager, I believe, or no, was elevated in 2020, but he was, believe it or not, this guy's a super analytical guy. He's the one who helped build the database and all the, where they get the sort of like a big data voter targeting thing. He was the architect of all that.
Really?
In 2016. And then Trump demoted him from campaign manager to like senior advisor. I think it was like 2 or 3 months ago. I think when the polls really showed Biden ahead. And I wonder to the extent that if he was having problems before and that was really the real reason for his demotion, or if the demotion kind of had him spiral out of control. Any thoughts on that?
No.
Well, all right,
I had no idea. I had no idea who he was before this story came out, honestly.
Yeah, I only know of his name from just seeing that. There was a big story that came out a couple of years ago about how he was, how he put together this really super targeted voter database.